Thank you. Um, our topic is omnichannel engagement, seamless customer experience. So these are almost like it's not a rocket science anymore. It's almost all the BFSI companies are adopting this. This is not a one of the is aspiration as of now. Probably I will talk about times few years back. It was an aspiration for few of the ones. Now it is a necessity almost. And customer who wants to interact with call center, and the next time immediately he wants to chat with the agent, and probably he will transfer it through the payment through PPI. So that's the overall the omnichannel for a customer as of now. Now, if I talk about my personal experience from in BFSI, I have two mix of experience. On one hand, while I was about to purchase the insurance policy, I dropped off from the on the purchase funnel. There was a call immediately. I received from the call center, and then they helped me to purchase the policy, which is a win-win for both of them. But other hand, I have a car loan from a well-known bank. Till now, every month at the month end, they are sending me a message that please pay your EMI, and with the asterisk that please ignore if already paid. And now, please ignore already paid. That's a kind of I don't know how to react, because if the bank doesn't know I have paid, what if I don't pay? The bank will still know that I'm not paid. So that's the one. I think there's, even if we have reached a lot of milestones is yet to be achieved, and there comes our topic as of today. So now now Shiva is here. So first question goes to Shiva because he is sitting next to me. So now we're in the age of hyper connected customers. All the customers we are all connected to WhatsApp, Facebook, and even all the social media. Is it BFSI still leveraging omnichannel engagement to deliver seamless experience to bridge the gap between the physical and digital footprint? I understand we have moved a lot because of COVID, but is it still there? I want to know your views.
Hey, hi everyone. I'm Shiva, Chief Digital Officer from Fedbank Financial Services. So, rightly pointing on the omni-channel, I wanted to tell much before that most of the companies have multi-channel experience. That means they are available in different platforms. But the thing which is missing generally is the platform doesn't speak to the other platform. Maybe you might have received payment, but you still send the marketing SMS. So, omni-channel is nothing but you are present across all the platforms, as well as each platform is speaking to the other one and trying to resume the user journey in a manner that it goes smoother. Coming to the physical as well as digital data connects, I would love to bring the example in which Fedbank Financial Services have. We were into doorstep gold loans as well, while there are other products. Since there is a gold, obviously the physical thing is involved, and doorstep gold loan is nothing but digitalizing the process as much as possible. So maybe I'll run through the process how it is blended with both physical and digital to become purely phygital in forms of the omni-channel communication as well. Whereas the sourcing happens digitally as well as physically by the employees, but passes through the digital systems. Then, the doorstep gold loan, there's authentication for the customer at every point of time, who's the employee coming to his doorstep, whether when he's taking the gold, the tracking of the gold going back to the system, into the safe, everything happens on a digital route. But again, the physical person is involved, who is doing the review of the gold and trying to assure what is the amount he can get. Then there is digital payments which were involved in the same process, and followed by explaining the applications which he can use in the future. So going forward, for the customer support, maybe he would use the chatbots, and for the further transactions he can even come to the branches as well as make the payments from the mobile app itself. Now we get a lot of reach from the social media. Social media these days has become close to a CRM tool as well, where we get a lot of collective feedback, and we will have to keep on listening across to understand and improve our product and experience. with all these channels working together, only the product would be successful, and it is essential in this hyper connected customers. The physical as well as digital use is to be needed via omni-channel platforms.
Definitely, well said. So I would move to Jasmeet. Jasmeet being a CRO hat, and then you have worked with Reliance General Insurance and ICICI Lombard. And now, from a risk point of view, from operational risk or even other risks involved, however, I was thinking that this is also a help from the risk point of view. If we talk about the overall omnichannel engagement.
So I think, I'm sure technicalities are something which we can get into, but, what more excites me from a risk perspective is that at the end of the day, whatever hedgings, whatever strategies we do is eventually for a customer satisfaction, customer delight, customer experience, whatever we may call it. But eventually, today, I think AI is more like, a kind of standard norm in most of the organizations, rather than understanding what really AI or ML, really kind of should turn around to be. So it's more like, tech world, we are all technology savvy. Everybody wants to run with the technology world. But are we really gaining customers? Are we losing customers? Are we doing analysis? Are we really kind of even figuring out that how is my business proportion increased with regards to this omni-channel strategy, or is there is a dissatisfaction which has really kind of gotten because there are chatbots who are not able to probably read the requirement, and it all fails. And let me tell you, a customer does not or barely gives you a second chance. Even if I am a customer today, I would want a seamless journey in first go. I do not want to explore an organization and give them opportunities that, okay, it has failed once, the payment failed once, I'll again try. Maybe, their payment gateway is down, or the link is not working, or something is an issue. I don't think those are the days we can afford to stay in. It has to be first time right. And that's how it should be. So it is very important and critical that a brainstorming is done prior to going live and a proper UAT is done. So I think, the rush to kind of, see if the competitor has done something and I want to kind of just replicate the strategy and say that, hey, I am also there, and show the management, the boards that, I have kind of complied and we are all having the best in class, practices available in the market. It is no shame to accept that we are a step lower than the industry, but then whatever we have done is to the best in class to our ability. So let us scale, enhance our abilities to the next level. Obviously, it's a maturity curve. Nobody today sitting here, I'm sure, can say that we've achieved all. There is something or the other which obviously, one would strive hard to kind of pick up to. There are two good things which Stancy is done, two good which HDFC is done, two good which ICICI is done. But everybody's got their own unique propositions, unique offerings. So today the competition is also in your uniqueness, what you want to bring on table, and not just copy paste and move forward. So I think our focus is very clear. We want to kind of, go digital. We want to be the best in, the omni-channel strategy. But on the other hand, we need to also understand our industry dynamics. So banking, NBFCs, insurance. I think these are three very, very large, diverse, kind of industries, and very difficult to, do a similar strategy across all positions. So it makes a lot of sense that, do the right brainstorming, right UAT, and then eventually, go on with anything.
Yeah. So that's moves to his point. So I will take about my example. So I am part of Aditya Birla Health Insurance. Now, in another part of Aditya Birla, we normally encourage our customers to remain fit, remain healthy, doing the walking, yoga, and everything. Now, imagine if I don't have the customer information as of now. Now, the customer who has claimed he's hospitalized, and I'm still sending, and he says, please exercise today. So those kind of mishap can be happen if you don't have the customer information in a central place. We can use the technology, but it cannot be in silos. Now, I want to move to Dr. Anuradha that in your case, it is far more complicated because instancy, it is across nations. There are rules. You can have data move outside of the country, And then you have branches, you have also the online mobile banking and everything. So how are you dealing with all this stuff and then have a consolidated view of customers and then serve the customers as per his need?
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Apologies for being late, stuck in the traffic, sorry. And thank you for your patience. Okay, a good question to ask because we are present across 18 plus markets. So for us, every customer in every country is important. So we go with a very simple strategy of understanding a customer. So we've started designing on understanding customer behaviors. So we do a kind of a segmentation where we try to understand the customer and not rush into that what I can sell in India, I can sell in another country also. Because every country has their different policy. Every country has their own regulations that we need to follow. So we try to cater to every single country needs by our analytics team in that country. Because being in India, I cannot tackle every country analytics. So we're trying to understand the customer behaviors. And as said, I think I cannot or we cannot tackle every part of it, whether it is banking, finance, insurance. So we try to tap it at different levels and try to understand what a customer wants with strategically and then tap them. Customer, I think, is the major part that we want, but tackling those behaviors is important for us.
Yeah, as I used to say that understanding the customers is a key. So you have to understand his pain point, and also you have to keep in mind his preference, whatever you have done last time, and what's his intention, how much, which life stage he is, and all the stuff. Now this also been difficult when you have a multiple bouquet of products, like you have gold loan, you have home loan, you have personal loan, you have business loan. So now I want to pick Arihant because in IIFL, how do we manage across products and then have a customer view, one view, so that it can cross sell, upsell, and serve the customer need altogether?
Okay, yeah, sure. Thanks. I am Arihant. I am heading product analytics at IIFL Finance. Before I answer that, I think one thing I just wanted to start, which is like something we have realized while talking to customer, right? While everyone wanted to give omni-channel experience, right, everywhere. This is a very loosely used term, I will say, in each of the conferences I go. But let me give you one example, okay? So for EMI payments, you know, there is a company, I would name it. They are available everywhere. Like I can make a payments from Google Pay, from Phone Pay, from their app, or from their websites, or maybe some more channels. Now, just take a simple example. There is a customer who has done a payment from Google Pay, right? And immediately after 5 minutes, he has opened an app, right? But still it shows that your due is still there, right? Now just think of the state, and this is an actual example I'm talking about. Now, when customer makes a payment, let's say there's an EMI of 25,000 rupees, right? Which is certainly a decent EMI to pay. Customer come on an app, and let's think in coming in the shoes of a customer. Customer come on an app and see that, oh, it is still showing due. What customer does after that? He or she immediately give a call to call center or start interacting with the chatbot, right? Saying that I already made the payment, it is not updated. While I can give 10 different reasons of why this is not has happened, maybe Google Pay have forwarded it to BPPS system, then BPPS system will update the bank system or NBFC systems, right? But one thing to note here is ultimately why we wanted to give an omni-channel experience is to improve the customer experience, not to raise, not for so that customer become more confused. So my first point is whenever we talk about omni-channel experience, first of all, companies need to evaluate their capabilities on platform, then their capabilities on technology, then analytics and processes and communications. If these 5 areas are not talking to each other at the same time, then you may wanted to call it that you wanted to give an omni-channel experience, but honestly, it will do more bad rather than doing a more good, right? So coming to the Preetam's question, and I think there are fair points which has already been discussed till this point of time. And I think the fundamental of doing all this, and actually it's very difficult for the legacy companies to do it compared to any new age fintech. Like if any new age fintech has opened like 2 years back, 3 years back, their all systems are very much technology advanced. But let's talk about the companies who like 15 years back, they have started acquiring a customer, right? So there is already a lot of debt to move this customer to give that omni-channel experience. So I think fundamentally what we try to do and what we think fundamentally is that you need to have a very great platform strategy in place. First of all, analytics come really, really late in the picture. Though people wanted to talk about analytics because analytics is always a so-called sexy word to use, right? It feels cool while talking analytics, ML, AI, and all that. But I think the fundamental thing to do first is to really evaluate what all system you have and work on your data and platform strategy to bring that first in order. Which means if you have a branches, what kind of CRMs your branches are using? If you have mobile app, where that data is going? If you have a website, where that data is going? And can you really create a platform where you bring all this interaction in real time at one place? Generally, people call it data warehouses or data lakes, right? Or whatsoever people wanted to call it. But I think that is the first step I believe organizations should take in first fixing it and then started launching multiple channels. So I think that's the fundamental principle we believed in, and we started taking steps in that direction before getting into high level of advanced ML or advanced AI as such. Yeah.
So two things emerges. One is, yes, kind of buzzword. We have AI, ML, and nowadays everything is more around generative AI. I don't know what's it, but I get about every day a WhatsApp message from my boss that what are you doing with generative AI? Now it's very difficult to convince him that generative AI is a part of, is a very specific part of AI. It's not a replacement of ML or any statistical algorithm. And also another point that Arihant touched upon is what I call them the technical debt. The kind of the old age companies, all the traditional companies, the technical debt they have, and on top of that, if you're trying to say that let's have omnichannel experience, it's very difficult to adopt based on the core system or designing the system or whatsoever. On top of that, also we are still in India, and Indian consumer is still in favor of human touch. Be it is in digital medium, but even today also we are probably see all this. If we talk about large appliances like TV, washing machine, everything. People loves to browse on the internet and then move to the moment posture and go in there and see the first hand, be the human touch. Now I will move to Shiva from you because you are from an image in BFSI, and then we have moved to also Bakr and Sher Khan and everything. Now, how are you integrating these two with the AI ML and also with the technical data on gap and bridging the gap and also maintaining the human touch? You already mentioned one, but apart from that, how are you combining both of them?
Hey, beautiful question. Before going into question, I'll ask you a counter question to you. Simple question. Okay. Do you know drinking water? Yes?
Yeah.
Do you know flying in the sky?
Mm-hmm.
No? Okay. So, before speaking about AI and ML, what I wanted to tell is we all as humans, I know that I know this. I know that I don't know this. AI and ML is something I don't know that even I don't know that. That is AI and ML, which is currently happening. AI and ML, the way the enhancements outside they were happening is, now somewhere if I ask Bard or ChatGPT, the kind of answers I get, responses even from my personal questions towards the professional questions is what a top-notch advisor can give. Now taking that and saying how these AI/ML chatbots can actually help us in the company as well as their challenges or the opportunities. Let's speak about some challenges which we have. The way we have, every company has taken data and stored to feed to these chatbots. Actually, it consumes a lot of data and then it gives the output. But we have a limited amount of data, and accuracy of the data is also not precise till the level where we store. So they generally start off at a lower start and they get trained with the time. Secondly, the contextual feature of these chatbots, or when we use these ML technologies for the conversations, they may not be exactly right. We, from our company standpoint of view, we can give some demographics as well as some other details, but that also it gets trained with the time. Now, third important thing which people may miss is security and privacy. So since it consumes a lot amount of the data and you are sharing a lot of the data, you will have to be more careful with these chatbot systems wherever they were deployed. And then there is somewhere the chatbot, since it is a machine, it doesn't understand the ethical biasness. I mean, if there is some bias, if there is some transparency, if you should not say that word or something, the chatbot may not understand. These are some of the challenges I see, but only thing is you should generally start small with the chatbot. Maybe you need not keep a chatbot for the entire company put together. Maybe you want to keep a chatbot at a respective transaction and give all the information to it, and still you would get to know, you'll be puzzled that a lot of questions being asked which are relevant, which we did not feed, and chatbot will gain improvement over the time. That's the better way to improve on that. It obviously is a best metaphor to reduce the cost, because firstly it is very quick. The TAT is quick. You need not ensure that there is some telecaller on wait, queue and all that stuff. It gets immediately, you get an immediate response. The TAT and the cost is less, and since it is a machine and chatbot, it understands what you have done the conversation till now as well. Even if the conversations which were done weeks ago or months ago or years ago. So there is a continuous spread of it, and all that was, we have to understand chatbot is like a baby which gets improved with the time. So you will have to train on it, and then you get furnished on the results little more on these things at a company level. Thanks.
Now, once again, on the similar line, if you talk about my experience as of now, in health insurance, even if it applies to general insurance with Jasmeet also, that we have to work with a lot of partners. For me, there are a lot of hospitals, TPA, and most of the time, it is not, the data sharing is not through API or through any modern technologies. It's still with the webhook or the other mediums, which is not that efficient. And that comes a different challenge, that there are data inefficiency, there are data quality challenges. There are also sometimes of data security threats. Now, Jasmeet is here. How are you utilizing this? How are you evaluating all these scenarios during your Reliance Union or even in your ICICI Lombard days?
That's a good, I think it's a fight. It has taken me 2 decades, and still I'm wondering that how do we really sanitize this data? So, I mean, that's a very, very true acceptance. But, I think it's a journey. Again, I say that, nothing happens overnight. So, data sanctity has always been a very, very big challenge. To give you a surprise, I'm a little digressing from the topic, but it's very important and empirical to kind of make a point here. Today, you have fraud customers, customers who've done fraud, cheated the companies and, manipulated a lot of things, because when it comes to claims, it's all money making. The insurance companies, there are about 28, 29 insurance companies, we are apprehensive in even sharing that fraud data with each other. So that is where I am talking about, what we are discussing here, like I think he said was a very valid point, that the chatbot would have a history of not even just days, years and otherwise. But is your systems integrated enough? Suppose he's reached one channel, unification of data is what I mean. Somebody's reached another channel, third channel, fourth channel. Is everything integrated to bring it at one place and give an experience of the customer that this is what he's mentioning? I would be happy if people have that, because that's again something which I see missing in a lot of chatbots when I kind of interact or I do my set of analysis with the things. And specifically, if I was to talk about health insurance, general insurance, again with the privacy data kind of coming in, I think it would become further difficult for us to kind of use that data, and how would we really play around with that data, because it's all PII and SPII information. So you just can't utilize a customer's information without his explicit consent, and he can withdraw that consent as he wants to. So eventually it is on the customers now, how much do they want from you and how much you have in offering. So data is something which I think is very, very critical. And specifically, as you mentioned very rightly, that, getting data from the agents. Now, if I look at from an agent's perspective, He is worried the moment I share the contactability data, my renewals are going to go, conveniently somewhere else. It could not be with the same company, but the data is available on dark web everywhere. So I think, when I talk about information security sessions, or because I take care of information security as well, my board and management asked me कि हमारा data कितना safe है. I really shy away from answering because I know a lot of data would be lying outside, because I keep getting calls myself of my own policy which is due for renewal from decades from one company. I get another company catching hold of, calling before my company or the ex company would have called. And it is not just with us, it is across the industry. Now, where is this data getting out from? Who leaks this data? Is it the technology team? Is it somebody who's playing around with the system, or there are any lacunas in the system? I think too many introspections to be done. And again, what basic question comes into play is your architecture correct? When you were developing the architecture, were you in a hurry to build and go live? Or, as again I come back to my first point, have you done your brainstorming right? Have you done your planning right? Have you done your UATs right? And is the UST exhaustive enough to kind of do the things? Today we do vulnerability assessments, we do gray box testing, we do black box testing. I mean, now we are doing everything when the regulator comes on your head. But how many companies were really doing it when they were making their systems? So now something which has already been spent over the years, again, bringing it a new system or bringing a new technology or overchanging is not so easy. It's a very costly affair. So I think these are some things to ponder upon. But yes, I think, now on the data part also a lot of discipline is coming in. We are trying to at least capture, basic small thing which we have done. Even if the agent has not shared the number, but if the customer has reached out to us and he's given certain number, a cust ID is created, the number gets tagged to that, so that the updated number is always available. So you have at least his contactability, his email ID is tagged, then his behavior patterns are tagged, what is he looking at, and then a consciously system generated logic comes in that this is a product which can be sold. Now to a 80-year-old, I really keep pushing a travel insurance policy, and I know his children stay in India. If I have a lot of data with me, I can play around with that. A lot of people, senior citizens, you'll be surprised, travel every year to the US, UK and Canada and other countries, and they go for six months. Now that's a big cost. Travel insurance is a big opportunity for the industry. But how are we really exploiting it? Because I wouldn't have access to the ticketing data. But can I really with an AI understand his pattern that every May he travels? So maybe April, some kind of a small reminder goes in that, okay, this is what you need to kind of take care of, your travel needs, so on and so forth. Whichever channel, again, could be different person to person. But again, there are ways and means to kind of tackle this.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's bring to one more point is that we cannot operate from a silos. We have to integrate to the last mile, because there comes the source of the data is there. So if you are, for example, doing the policy login, we are not capturing most of the information. Most of the information is garbage. We know that. Now, if that agent is aware of the information that the critical information that he's capturing, if he's knowing that this will be much more valuable if we capture those information from the customers, probably this will help him also in during renewal. Now that's the kind of education or the agenda we have to set it there for. And we will to also, if you talk about across department, now when I'm interacting with customer in the call center, I am getting that in the call center for almost 2 minutes, 3 minutes. That's high time to get the information from him. And I have to update in the CRM. If my call center agent, if he is well aware of that criticality of his job, then half job is done. Now there comes our next role is that how do we ensure the culture of sharing the customer insights, or how across as an organization, how we are how we are ensuring that this culture of cross-function team and then they're working on the data quality and everything. So Dr. Anuradha,
Only one thing which I'll say is, since you mentioned about this, nothing is a bottoms-up approach. This is a top-down approach. I think we have to accept that. If the board level, the management level is sensitive about this, trust me, this project or this discussion will become much easier than we all probably think of. But again, that involves cost, that involves time, and how much are we focused as management is what we need to introspect and answer. I don't think it's a forum to talk too much about it, but I think it's more like a top-down approach in my perspective. I'm sure ma'am can add more.
Yeah, thank you. I think I can completely agree with you. My insurance gets expired in another 4 months, and I start getting a call today from different companies with a note, if you don't do it today, if you meet with an accident, what happens? I said, are you threatening me or are you selling me an insurance policy? That happens. And now what you spoke, all the channels have to speak to each other. I think interesting is each one of you receive credit card upgrades, right? Each one of you receive some messages that you have an X company's credit card revenue points will be added if you go and spend. How does that happen? So analytics person sitting over here, we track that. We are not disclosing the customer's detail, but we do track your transaction data, transaction history. Depending on that, we give you offers. But yes, we try to do the customer sanitation with us. But if you reflect on yourself also as customers, we are in so much hurry. At times we click on, okay, share my information. We unknowingly do that, right? So that's how we are leaking our customer information or our own information to others. I think everybody will agree, right? We are in so much of hurry. We just say, okay, we don't even read what is written, and those written things are so small that we ignore it. Moving ahead, when I talk about AI, ML, and LLMs that we are talking about, I think AI, ML has become a term as a single term, as though AI, ML being a subset of AI. I think we should not use it, but by large, we start using it, right? Being a machine learning engineer, I say machine learns first, we train them, and then the AI comes into picture. At SCB, we are doing a lot of LLMs. So large language models, security is the major concern. So we're still not adopting to it. We are doing small use cases in-house. I'll request each one of you, you can go explore, but kindly do not put any organization questions because you're leaking your information. Even if you write a statement, I think those artificially intelligent systems are so intelligent that they'll grab the information from there, and then those models will be trained on your information. So the thing is asking the right question to the LLM chatbot. They're intelligent, made by us humans. Human intervention is important. We've made them intelligent, but they are quite intelligent to give you the answer. So I think security is important that we take care of. So we are really, really looking into it so that we don't leak our data. But as a customer, I think it's our duty also to be knowledgeable and intelligent enough.
Yeah, absolutely. So Samsung already showed us what can be the failure of this. So I understand from Reliance, big insurance companies, from Stancy. However, the new companies like Arihant, IIFL, how they are ensuring this cultural aspects into when it comes to data quality and everything.
Yeah, so I guess this is answered greatly by Sir, that it's always top-down approach, right? And I agree to it, right? It's actually a top-down approach. Along with that, I guess there are a lot of things, multi-department focuses on ROI-driven things, right? So a lot of times, you cut the vertical as a CDO as a vertical, right? Or a digital strategy as a vertical. But a lot of times, I think the number KPIs are not assigned to this kind of roles, right? So if you, like, I am focusing more on the omni-channel experience creation on a product side. Let's say there is a business guy out there, right, who is driving traditionally the way businesses should be driven. But if you really wanted to imbibe this culture, because all this doesn't come only by talking, you have to invest a lot in infra, and infra, cloud, and all is a cost, right? At the end of the day, it is going to be set somewhere in the PNL, right? And so specifically this digital strategy team, or whatsoever we wanted to call it, it should have a targets out there, right? In terms of, and a lot of organizations started doing it and started seeing a magic actually, that you are like one of the discussion which I was doing with my colleague in a company, they were saying that they have a clear target that 30% of their sales should be driven through this digital mediums only. Now this 30% is just a number. It can be 50, it can be 15 also, it can be anything. It depends on which stage and which maturity stage your organization is. So I think attaching a KPI to that digital unit is very important. That's where you will become a income generating unit in some way, right? That's also very important. And once you do that, then the adoption of all this thing will happen, because at the end of the day, then you have to go ahead and hire some of the data engineering folks, some data analytics folks, and bring all this together. So yeah, I guess these two things, if done right, is something could be of help. And third, I think with a lot of companies, they have a group businesses, right? So if I talk about like IIFL, right, we have our finance business, we have our security business, we have our like discount broking and so on and so forth. And there are multiple groups of that kind in India as well as in the world, right? So first, to establish that thought in a single entity is very important by really creating this kind of strategy. Once you have done that, then of course you can go ahead and bring a group synergies. Because trust me, I think bringing group synergies, talking about this is again cool, but really implementing it is really difficult. I think you pick up any name in the industry, right? And if you see that they have huge amount of data, right? But in multiple group entities, but really creating a one view of that customer is really difficult. But still, I say it like, it doesn't happen overnight. You have to take a baby steps, really show the progress that this really works. This actually help you reduce your OPEX and all that, right? Once you have done that for one unit, then I think it really makes sense to go ahead and expand that culture, right, in your group companies as well. So yeah, that's the three things I can think of on this. Yeah.
Yeah, rightly said, Arihant. So we are on the constant time. We are now moved to the audience. If you have any questions. Okay, then the topic was omnichannel engagement and everything. Now we touched upon a lot of things. We touched the basics and the gaps in data warehouse, the technologies, and how the organization is basing and in terms of maturity curve. And then what all basically are, if an organization, they have to identify what all the key area they want to focus in, and then how they want to structure their thoughts in terms of doing the omnichannel engagement, and what all is very critical. Now, if it's critical, is the data security, probably we'll have to think about how do we share the data across channel, across everything. Now, if you talk about my experience in health insurance, there are a lot of things we are doing currently in terms of customer health. When a customer is doing the annual health checkup for us, we know his medical history and everything. Now we are utilizing this for his own benefit, how to incentivize him, how to give him a better product. And that's come the ethical AI part, because we're not including his medical history to pricing in the pricing part. We're not utilizing that. For example, suppose customer has diabetic history, I will not charge him a premium when it comes to the renewal payment. Now, there's so in AI, even the generative AI, the ethics is also, as an organization, as a mature organization, you have to keep in mind. And that's where the overall approach comes into picture. I think anyone have to clear anything? And then we can wrap it up if there's no questions.